Climate change is no longer a distant threat. It is a crisis unfolding before our eyes. In 2022 alone, over 110 million Africans were impacted by its devastating effects. In Uganda, erratic rainfall and prolonged droughts have disrupted agriculture, leading to food insecurity and rising uncertainty for communities. These climate effects are not equally felt. Women, already disadvantaged by gender inequalities, bear a disproportionate burden. In rural Uganda, the vulnerability of women smallholder farmers is worsened by unequal land rights and exclusion from vital decision-making processes. Mityana District, once a food basket for central Uganda, now faces devastating droughts that leave crops and gardens parched. Mariam Namudu, a smallholder farmer in Kawolongojjo, Mityana, is struggling after prolonged droughts severely impacted her garden. When the rains finally came, they further devastated her crops with strong winds and hailstones.
Akasana kaayisa bubi katuyisa bubi era ne katukosa nnyo ebintu byonna ne bikala. Twasimba n'ebijjanja tetwajjamu yadde n'endebe ebbiri eno. Kati ne byonoonekera ddala omusaala ne gutuyisa bubi ate n'enkuba bwe yagenda okujja ate nayo n'etuyisa bubi. Ebitooke n'ebisuula, amayumba n'egabambula, ebirime ne bitambula ne bigenda.
Even coffee, a key cash crop in this region, is suffering. Long sunny spells have led to poor yields, which were once reliable sources of income.
Era tewali ssente n'okugenda ku ssomero simanya abantu tugenda bakola. Kuba tubadde tumanya nti bw'onogayo akamwanyiko n'oyanika oba n'otunda akabisi n'ofuna omunnyo oba sabbuuni ne kati tewali. Era tumanyi kye tugenda kukola.
Mariam Namkasa, another farmer from the same village, also recorded significant losses due to the harsh weather.
Embeera za season ey'edda twasambulanga mu January. Netumanya nti ogwokusatu tujja kusiga. Naye kati kweganga mu gwokusatu nga tujja kusiga nga mu gw'omukaaga nga tukungula. Naye season ya kaakati enkuba etonnya wetali tonyedde. We twalisigidde musana guba gwaka. Ate we twagamba nti mukungule nga enkuba etonnya butonyi non-stop.
This highlights the urgent need for women's land rights to be prioritized as a key driver of resilience and equality.
Tuli balimi ba bitooke, tuli balimi ba miti. Naye ebisomozo bye tusinga okufuna nti kwe tubirimira ebitundu ebyo si byaffe. Ebiseera ebisinga bibeera by'abaami baffe, bibeera tupangisa. Bwe tupangisa tosobola kusimbako miti, tosobola kusimbako bitooke.
When it comes to making decisions over how to use the land, how to plan for this land, women oftentimes do not have that opportunity in their households, especially when it comes to long-term projects. That is where issues to do with power imbalances in households, who makes which decisions actually play out, and it's a limitation.
The ladies, what I've observed that most times, if it is a couple, the lady normally is in charge of these seasonal crops. Then the gentleman is normally in charge of the perennial, those which take long. It's an established tradition that men are the ones to own what? We call them long-term what? Assets. And obviously these perennial crops can fall into the long-term what? Assets. And when you look at these trees which we are growing to avert the climate change, they are in that category of what? Long-term assets. So that means this lady who does not have to own long-term assets cannot be allowed to grow the eucalyptus, the pine.
As climate change intensifies, development advocates emphasize that women's rights to land are not just a moral imperative, but also a practical solution. By 2050, climate change could push 158 million women and girls into poverty, with 232 million facing food insecurity. Yet, their resilience and untapped potential remain powerful forces that could drive our collective fight against this crisis. To effectively address these challenges, governments and stakeholders must prioritize the following: recognize the distinct effects of climate change on women and girls, create and implement climate policies and programs that are inclusive and gender responsive, integrate land tenure rights into climate action through both programming and financing strategies, remove barriers that prevent women from accessing and owning land, encourage women's active involvement and leadership in climate change decision-making and initiatives. When land reforms align with climate initiatives, we build stronger, more resilient communities, resulting in enhanced livelihoods, amplified socioeconomic progress, and transformative, inclusive solutions that benefit everyone.